And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast, brought to you by On SI. Make sure to follow me at Chachere Grant on Twitter, last name, first name. Then make sure to go follow us on Twitter as well, Tar Heels at Tar Heels on SI. Also, make sure to go like and follow our Facebook page as well, North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. And then also make sure to check out our website. Once again, si.com/college/UNC, or just look up North Carolina Tar Heels on SI on Google, and it will be one of the first things to pop up. Our website's free, no subscriptions, no paywall, no bull. Just straight up content, bringing you all the latest news and details regarding UNC athletics. So make sure to go check that out. And today, I want to talk about an issue that I witnessed 2 days ago, but we didn't talk about it because we had fall camp and stuff like that, and I wanted to keep it football centric. And not say I don't want to ignore basketball, but I want to keep it fall camp centric, just because yesterday we had fall camp once again. So we also uploaded our takeaways from that. Not really much happened, but we did have a few takeaways from everything that happened yesterday. And it came to my attention. I saw this on Twitter. It was kind of blowing up a little bit on UNC Twitter, and it came from an excerpt from an article on Hoops HQ, which is owned by Seth Davis, of course. Seth Davis, a journalist for CBS, who covers college basketball for CBS Sports. Yeah, unfortunately, he's a Dookie, but I think you guys will love that pass because, he does do a lot of great work in regards to college basketball. And this was an article from the site. It was actually written by Brett Friedlander, of course, longtime journalist in the area, has covered a lot of some of the most famous games, the Duke-UNC rivalry. I mean, he's covered, 12 Final Fours. He's a highly respected figure in this area. Actually, he was the very first journalist that followed me when I first got the UNC job, actually. So shout out to Brett, especially a guy who is a veteran in this business and knows a lot of things about UNC basketball more than a lot of people in this area know, especially myself, who I just got here. And he interviewed Hubert Davis. It's a really good article. Check it out. It is, unfortunately, a subscription-based article. So it's $4.99 a month, which isn't bad. And I'm not going to tell you the whole article. Just go check it out. But I will say this excerpt, because this excerpt was posted all over Twitter, and it was blown up steam. And they talked. I think they were getting to the guards, and they mentioned Seth Trimble being the only holdover of note, and of course they brought in Kyan Evans, and then they started talking about Derek Dixon and Isaiah Denis, 2 freshman guards who are part of the 2025 class, who have gotten overshadowed by Caleb Wilson. But to be fair, Caleb Wilson, I mean, he will overshadow a lot of different people. And Hubert Davis really liked how Derek Dixon and Isaiah Dennis were performing throughout the summer, and how hard it would be for them to keep them off the floor. No issue there, right? Because they could be really good and they could contribute to the team. But instead of saying, well, they could help us contribute to win a lot of games, they could help us win a championship, blah, blah, blah. This is what he said. You can see it in the way they compete and play. Okay, not bad. You can see it in the way they compete and play. Okay, it's not bad. Then he said this. It wouldn't surprise me that by the time they leave Carolina, it wouldn't surprise me to see both of their jersey numbers in the Smith Center rafters. That's a really bold thing to say, Coach, because of all the names in the rafters, right? You got Tyler Hansbrough, Vince Carter. I think Vince Carter's up there. Antoine Jamison. I already said Michael. Did I say Michael Jordan? I If I haven't, may have said it twice. It doesn't matter. But there's a lot of different names. I mean, there's a lot of names in the rafters, man. Right? Lenny Rosenbluth, James Worthy, Sam Perkins. I mean, there's a lot of names up there, man. A lot of names. So that's a really bold thing to say. However, there is one issue with what he said. And that one issue is that this isn't the first time he's done it. This is from a tweet from May 11, 2023. This is from Ross Martin when he used to, I believe this is when he used to work for 24/7. And he said, just an all-time quote from UNC head coach Hubert Davis before the freshman seasons of DeMarco Dunn and John Charles Styles. By the time that they leave Carolina, they're going to be two of the best players ever to play in Carolina history. I really believe that. Dog, why would you say that? Why do you keep doing it? Like, why does he do this? And why does he keep, and I'm not a fan. Of course, I've said this before, like, I'm an LSU alum. I'm not a fan. And I think Hubert Davis is a great coach. I think he's a great coach, right? You just don't magically go to the Final Four and go to the national championship game. Right? I know it comes with a lot of luck, but let's just be honest with ourselves. During that run, since the end of the regular season till the Final Four, he was coaching his butt off. Not only that, he outcoached Coach K twice, not once, twice. So he's a good coach, and he's a great recruiter. Hence the guys he brought in this year. But the issue with Hubert Davis is, number one, he's doing the exact opposite of what Dean Smith did, right? And Dean Smith has talked about this in interviews. If you read his book, A Coach's Life, I think that's what it's called. I actually had the book. I just finished it the other day. But in his book, he talked a lot about Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan is one of the top seniors, was one of the top freshmen in the country, right? And this is before the season. And by the way, just keep this in mind. The coaches knew Michael Jordan was going to be good. They knew he was going to be a great player. They knew he was going to be an All-American. They knew he could go on the NBA and have a long career. They didn't expect him to be Michael Jordan. And you want to know why I know they didn't expect him to be Michael Jordan? Because when Michael Jordan, his freshman year, he was known as Mike Jordan. He didn't become Michael to the end of his college career. You want to know why? Because Dean Smith made sure that Michael Jordan did not get any attention. He had to prove himself that he could play in a Carolina blue uniform. And I'll give a great example of this. This is the very famous Sports Illustrated cover which was the preseason magazine. It's from 1981, right before the 81-82 season. Of course, the season that North Carolina won the national championship over Georgetown. Of course, it's Michael Jordan's famous shot. This is a preseason magazine. Now take a look at this. You got Dean Smith. That's really cool. Sports. So actually one of my favorite Sports Illustrated covers. But you got Dean Smith drawing up a play on the board. I believe that's the four quarters. I believe it is. And it might be, I don't know. And then you have James Worthy, you got Jimmy Black, you got Matt Doherty, and you got Sam Perkins. There's four players. Supposed to be five. Where's the fifth player? Nowhere to be found. You want to know why? Because that fifth player was Michael Jordan. Dean Smith made sure that Michael Jordan did not get any hype whatsoever. Actually, and he said in his book that, like, even the reporters were asking for Michael. They were like, hey, where's Michael? It's like, no. No freshman apart interviews or preseason shoots or anything. Because Dean Smith, not only wanted to make sure that Michael Jordan had to prove himself in the program, but not only that, to also protect him. And Hubert Davis is doing the exact opposite. Why are you putting all this unnecessary pressure on freshmen that are not really going to even be starters? They're going to be bench players this year if they stay after next season, because they could be starters next year, but that's only if they stay. But who knows if they stay? They could transfer to NC State like Ben Allen Lubin did and be a really good player. Right? Because Ben Allen Lubin, apparently, I think he's starting at NC State this year. And also, Hubert Davis, you also haven't shown that you can develop young talent yet. Right? And I'm not saying he's not a bad coach. I'm not saying he's a bad recruiter, but he needs to get better at developing young players. And not only that, being a better program builder. And really, player development falls under program building. And that's something that he lacks compared to Grant Chachere and Will Wade. Will Wade is one of the best program builders in the country. I've said this before on this podcast. I've said it in a written article. I mean, Jeremiah's, I'm not sure if it's been released yet, but he's going to release a article about how UNC's transfer portal roster compares to Duke and NC State. If it's already up by the time this episode gets released, go check it out. If it hasn't, check it out as soon as it comes out. But, I just don't know why he would say that. And I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying he said that with malicious intent. I think he really believes that. But you don't need to say that, because that's a really bold thing to say. Because even D. Smith was hush-hush about Michael Jordan. They wanted Michael Jordan to be a secret completely. And him, Bill Guthridge, and Roy Williams, they all wanted Michael Jordan to be the greatest unknown, even though Michael Jordan's one of the top freshmen in the country coming in. So, yeah, there's that. I mean, you have to – I get installing confidence in your players, but there's the difference between instilling confidence in your players and then putting way too much pressure on your players to succeed. Because to say they're going to be in the rafters after the careers are over is a wild thing to say, considering the amount of great players are in the rafters. You got, like, multiple-time All-Stars, Naismith Basketball Hall of Famers, Michael Jordan, right? Like, keep in mind how many people are in those rafters. I mean, you guys probably already know that. But, I mean, my God, man. Come on, Hubert. Like, and I'm going to share this. I know it's Wikipedia, but this is all we need to know about who is hanging in the rafters. Right here. Give me 1 second. Bang. So you got the retired members: Lenny Rosenbluth, Phil Ford, George Glavine, Michael Jordan, Antoine Jameson, Tyler Hansbrough, and James Worthy. Those are the retired members. But they also have a lot more, right? These are the honored players, as the names already mentioned. Look at all those players: Billy Cunningham, Larry Brown, Bob Lewis, Larry Miller, Charlie Scott, Bill Chamberlain, Bob McAdoo, Bobby Jones, Mitch Kupchak. I mean, we're talking about all-American players, future Hall of Famers. I mean, Bob McAdoo is in the Naismith. I mean, he was in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. He's a Pro Basketball Hall of Famer. I mean, these are Broad Doherty, multiple-time All-Star. Michael Jordan, multiple-time greatest player of all time. Jerry Stackhouse, long-time All-Star in the NBA. I mean, these are You know how many names that is? Guys who have helped lead North Carolina to Final Fours and national championship games. That's a wild thing to say, right? And I think Hubert, and I think he's a great person, a great coach. He needs to do a better job of protecting his players from getting unwanted pressure. But not only that, like the players, the two previous players you mentioned beforehand, that you said about that in 2023, Dontrez Styles and DeMarco Dunn, they're not part of the program anymore. This is a new age of basketball. You can't, those guys, yes, I'm not saying that Isaiah Dennis and Derek Dixon won't stay at Carolina, but that's not a guarantee. So let's say they transfer out this year. That makes you look like a fool. It doesn't make you look serious. And I think Hubert Davis is a good coach. I think he has. I think North Carolina will rebound this year and have a really good season. But you can't be doing that. That's just a pet peeve of mine. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. My name is Grant Chachere, your lead beat writer for Tar Heels on SI. Make sure to check it. Make sure to check us out on the website. It's free, no paywall, no subscription, and no bull. Make sure to check it out. We got the latest UNC sports news on there. And also make sure to go follow us on Twitter at Tar Heels on SI. Make sure to go like and follow our Facebook page at North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. And also, when you get the chance, make sure to follow me on both Twitter and Facebook as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a great one.